Hello and welcome to another episode of New World to Go. I'm your host Redbird, and with me, or right next to me, to this way of my screen is BDLG. Bordy, how's it going tonight, man?
Wow, dude.
Flailing,
What?
man. It's hard, dude. It's hard because you think it's the opposite, but then when you know what I'm saying?
Wait, So there's people that are going to be listening to this, just listening to this. They're not watching this live, so they can't see
Yeah,
you flailing your arms around like a moron. But thank
yeah.
you for the fantastic introduction, Red. I appreciate
Hey,
that, man.
man, no
I was
problem.
all pumped up to come record this podcast. I was
Mm-hmm.
ready to go,
Yeah.
and then you blew it, man. You ruined it. So thanks, dude. You have a way of just taking the excitement right out of the room, dude. You know?
Listen, man, you're being a little bit of a Debbie Downer. What I've gained a new respect for meteorologists, because I'm pointing's hard sometimes, and they got to point a lot, like at the cloud formations that aren't there. They're on a green screen. They're kind of, pointing, and I just tried to point to my friend over here. It was difficult. It was hard.
Oh my gosh, man. All right, let's
There's no
let's
wonder they
let's
get
talk
40
about New World,
degrees.
man.
All right, yeah. All right, so we got a lot, dude. We had an exciting news week this week. We got two big drops of information. We did our podcast one day late this week. If you guys caught that, it was about all of the territory information that we got about settlements and forts and how those work and how companies kind of control those. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to that. That is episode 4, and this is episode 5. And we also got at the end of the week something about the new factions or the NPC factions in New World. And we already knew about one, but we're gonna go through all 4 of them tonight. And we got a lot of cool, crazy ideas on what we think this means for the overall gameplay of the game. So, Bordy, why don't we just start right in there, and we'll start with the most obvious one, the one we knew a lot about before, and that was the corrupted.
Oh, we're gonna jump right into those, huh?
Yes,
Okay, I thought we were gonna
yes.
start small and move our way up. All right,
Well,
yeah,
see, but
yeah,
we got a lot of thoughts on why the other 3 maybe aren't so small. You know what I mean?
yeah. That's true. That's true. So yeah, we can talk about the corrupted man. I think that this is cool. This is something that I've always wanted in a game. Is something similar to the corrupted. As the players build up their settlements and get stronger, you're rivaled by these corrupted enemies. It's going to be cool, man. I don't know exactly how it's going to work. I don't think anybody does yet, but I hope it's just kind of sporadic, as you, and I think that's the way I understand it that it's going to be, right? Like as you get stronger, corrupted are just going to show up and rival you. So I hope there's like we've seen in screenshots and videos before, like these big, huge, corrupted looking enemies, like the big tree looking, huge, corrupted guy. I hope there's a whole lot of variations from, weak to strong that, maybe they come in hordes and then maybe they send like just a couple of really big dudes or something. I don't know. It's gonna be dope though. I'm excited about the corrupted. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So okay. So let's say what we know factually first. This is a faction that appears to be. It's like the magic of the island. So if you guys didn't watch the Dev Diary, basically they kind of break down what Eternum is and kind of the power behind it and what makes it such like a magical, intriguing place, or a place that all these explorers are trying to come through. Basically, anywhere on the island, you can't die. So everybody's immortal, so to say. And as we get in and talk about the other 3 factions, they'll kind of show like, a really cool way that this is affecting like the different factions in the game. But so the corrupted are basically that magic fighting back against human players, or the people that are traveling here to explore. And so, like Bordy had said, we do know that as players' civilizations grow, the corrupted kind of rise up to meet that and an equal force, or maybe overwhelming force, and to try to put it out. We'll make a Star Wars analogy here. It's like Rey and Kylo, Bordy. I know how much you like Star Wars. But yeah. So anyways, he's just shaking his head. For all of our audio listeners out there, Bordy is not happy that I made that.
I don't have anything to say, man. Let's just
Yeah.
move on.
Okay. So as players, again, So now they have unique capabilities that weren't mentioned about the other three factions, and is that they can start like blocking roads off, which I assume would affect trade routes and stuff like that. They can set up portals to spawn in like more mobs into areas and like start to take it over. If you watch the VOD, they're like, some of the environments start to change as more corrupted come into the area. Like there's red skies and fogs and like like misty bloody type rain, and it's dope, dude. The visual effects of a corrupted area are pretty sick. Did you obviously you've watched the VOD too, Bordy? What are your thoughts on the
Yeah, yeah. I watched it multiple times, and that was one of the things that got me the most. I didn't expect that, right? Like I'm sitting here looking at a couple of screenshots that I took for that post over there on StudioLoot.com. You like that plug, Red? And
professional?
it yeah, it was dope. But I did not expect, like, it looks like some growth, right? Like some dark looking nasty growth on the ground that's overtaking everything, and then the red tint to the sky, like you had said. It looks really awesome, and I hope that's what happens in game whenever the corrupted invade you, because that takes things to a whole other level right there. It's nutty. I just expected a horde of enemies or just fighting off enemies. I didn't expect any environmental changes whenever they crept up on you. But do you think like the corrupted are going to be, maybe have like a what if they set up a base of operations somewhere? Like if they show up, do you think they're gonna like spread like some kind of disease over the earth? It's kind of what it looks like. So where would that stop? Like, does that just keep going? Like, I don't know how that's gonna work, but it looks really cool. I'm really excited to see how that works, man.
And again, okay, so I think not only the corrupted are the like they're gonna come in waves. They're gonna come in masses. I hope that they really lay that on thick. I hope to every 50-man raid, there's 1,000 corrupted that come and try to take over these civilizations and to take them back and to gain them back for the Azoth or the magic of the island. And I thought you kind of mentioned a couple of cool points. Just think of like raid bosses, like
Yeah,
open world raid bosses coming with armies coming to wreck your civilization or your settlement. Or it's gonna be so dope if they really like do that well. To the fact that we're talking about epic battles like Lord of the Rings type stuff, where there'll be just massive raid bosses and a lot of small mobs, all of them like just full force coming at your settlement, and you got to defend them back. That would be amazing, man. I hope it's like that, really.
yeah, yeah. I mean, can you imagine just hanging out at your settlement doing a little crafting, right? You're just trying to make a sword so you can go out and kill someone, and then you see this massive army marching towards you, or you see a portal open up and these enemies just start flooding out. I mean, how dope, dude. It's gonna be cool, man. I'm excited about it. I think the corrupted idea, the idea of them being smart enough to know when players are getting stronger to come attack you, and they're trying to defend their territory. They don't want the players to get too strong, and it's a really cool idea, and I can't wait to see it. And I think if anybody can pull this off, it's going to be Amazon. And I say that just because they're so large. Their team is huge, and they've got a lot of money. So they don't really have a track record of being able to pull these off. So it's not like I can speak on the reputation, but just I mean, it's Amazon. You know what I mean? I think they're going to be able to pull this stuff off pretty nice, and I'm excited, dude. The corrupted gets me really excited, gets me going.
Yeah, I agree with you. It has a lot of potential, and really, I do think that I know a lot of people are upset about the changes to PvP, but whether they made those changes or not, the game needed something like this to keep it interesting. It needed a faction that was going to, no matter what the war looks like, what faction out of the three are winning the war, there's an equally greater threat than the war itself, right? It keeps things interesting. Even that most powerful faction has something to fear, because as powerful as they get and grow, the corrupted force will come and meet them equally and try to, to put as much pressure as either of the two human factions could, and that can keep the game balanced. That no other game has tried that before, right? There's a
Yeah,
lot of PvP or a lot of games that are centered around PvP and three factions, and those factions oftentimes get unbalanced. There's always one that's like more populated, or more skilled than the others. And this type of mechanic can help keep that in check if the AI is smart enough to kind of raise up and get more powerful as the factions get more or less powerful.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're supposed to do, from my understanding. So you're exactly right. It could help, definitely help keep a balance, which is a great point, man, for sure.
All right, so we're going to move on to the three that we didn't know about, and they mentioned these are just new to the dev diary, and we are going to start with the Lost, Forty. Now, the Lost are basically the way they described in the video. They are all the explorers that had kind of died on the way to Eternum, and whether it be the sea or sea monsters or whatever be the case, and as their bodies kind of wash up onto the shore of Eternum, they start to be reanimated by the magic that's there. And these are like undead skeleton zombie type NPCs. The developers state that they're basically beings that have eternal life, but they do not have souls, which is the whole backstory of the Lost is pretty awesome, man. It has a
It
cool lore
is.
to it.
It is. I agree. The way that they implemented these into the game is awesome. I will say that the actual creatures, though, in my opinion, is a little underwhelming. I mean, let's be real here for just a second, okay? They're zombies. All right, we're talking
Yeah.
about zombies. We have zombies, which is cool. It's fine because I think what's going to happen with the Lost, I think that these are going to be like your low level mobs that you encounter in the very beginning, because these are the people that washed up on the shore. And if you watch the video, it looks like they're around all of the shipwrecks and all of the wreckage that was just close to the shore. And we know they've said before that as you venture from the shore on into the middle of the island, the mobs get harder, right? So you're as you push forward, you encounter tougher and tougher enemies. So I think that these are going to be just your introductory enemies, which is fine. I kind of wish they would have been a little bit more creative than zombies. But what else do you do though? Whenever you're trying to make this type of backstory, so it fits and the backstory is cool. It's zombies, so it's like whatever. But it's all right. I'm okay with it. But I think they're going to be low level creatures in the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. So we kind of have differing opinions on maybe what they're trying to do here with these three factions outside of the corrupted, which I think is a separate thing that really is just serves another purpose. These three factions that are kind of warring for Eternum, they all have different traits or aspects to them, and a lot of those. Bordy, this is foreshadowing a little bit, lend themselves to a more traditional like MMO type playstyle. So, and I'll go ahead and make a play. I just made a YouTube video about this concept: is how the armor and the loot and the weapons that they would get from killing these particular types of factions, might hold some magical powers that we can obtain as explorers to help change the way we play, which is basically. I kind of tied the Lost to like necromancy or warlocks or, like a Death or Shadow Knight or rogue type players, because a lot of them are pirates or explorers, and having those abilities maybe come from the weapons and armors that we loot from killing them. I mean, that could add a lot of depth, to the game, because do we at as many changes as they made, do we really think we're just going to go around with a basic hammer and have one attack the whole game like there, a lot of the videos show?
No, I mean, I think there will be abilities in that last video that we've seen. There are some pretty clear examples. I think if you watch the very end of that video, you'll see in the sieges that take place, and you'll see like a guy standing over to the left that shoots his bow and arrow, and it's like a scatter shot. It's like a 3 round like scatter shot with his arrow, and then you see another guy standing on top that's shooting some long range stuff. And so you see some abilities that go off that make me feel like there's definitely going to be like some abilities that you slot to your bard that you actually use. So I I as cool as I think your idea is, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's cool. I think it's fun to speculate on that. Like, okay, what if we could get some abilities from these mobs that kind of tie into like the Lost, some kind of necromancer type of thing or something? That'd be cool, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think more realistically, they're just gonna drop like armor and regular gear, like some weapons or whatever, and then as you level up, you'll get to choose some different abilities, and then we're just going to be able to craft gear as well. I don't think it's going to be tied to that, man. It would be cool though. It's an extremely cool thought and out of the box for sure. I like it. It would be cool if they did that, but I don't think we're going to get it, man. Might be wrong, but I don't think we're going to get it red.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. Again, it seems that the game is pivoted more towards like a PvE focus, right? I think that's pretty undebatable at this point. So what will really hurt the game is if they don't have a good plan for PvE, because they can't hedge their bets. You can't be, a 50 out of 100 at PvE and a 50 out of 100 in PvP and expect that to add up to 100, right? Then you have a 50 rated game and nobody wants to play it, right? So there's got to be some new exciting ways that's going to bring a lot of a lot of purpose to these factions, to the loot that you get from these factions, to the reason that you want to kill these factions, the reason that you want to, dare I say, maybe even join these factions. If these three factions are maybe linked to the choices you have in factions, maybe you war for these particular armies. Who knows? But there's got to be some depth to this stuff. We can't just. I wouldn't think that the Lost are just going to be moved past after level 10 or something like that, right?
So I do, and I'll tell you why. I think the Lost are going to be moved past after level 10, and then, well, maybe not after level 10, but I think these are just going to be your introductory whatever to get you going. They're going to drop weapons, they're going to drop armor, they're going to drop the necessities that you need to push forward and move into the world a little bit further, right? And then I think as you get in there, we haven't talked about these yet, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. We'll talk about them in a minute. But the ancients, that's where their technology is on a tournament. And I think from the ancients, I think maybe then we'll be able to discover things that give us some more powerful abilities or some sort of powers, maybe. But I do fully think that the Lost are just like, those are just your introductory mobs to get you leveled up, to get you gear, to get you started. Because what I mean, you have to have that somehow, right? Like you have to have some sort of way to get started in the game, right? Like you can't just get thrown onto the island and then be expected to kill world bosses. So the Lost, I think, are just there. That's my prediction anyway, right? Like the Lost are there, and then there may be some. We may encounter some Lost further on into the island that have roamed in there and have adapted and gotten stronger as well. And so there may be some like somehow roaming around, but I believe these are going to be your introductory level enemies, and I think that's the purpose they serve.
Interesting. We'll find out eventually, Bordy. Which one
I'm
of
right
these
and
is
you're
correct.
wrong, man.
Yeah,
It's
for
what's going to
now, I
happen.
mean, when there's no facts involved, sure. The Angry Earth is the next faction. Now, this faction is the defensive mechanism of the nature of Eternum, so it's a little in the same vein as the Corrupted, but this is more of like the island itself, not the magic surrounding it. So then these NPC is basically the faction of the nature of the island, imitating beasts, humanoids, and even monstrosities that the island has to fight back against the other factions and the players. So they see anything foreign to the island and the island's natural life as an enemy or an infection, so to say. And again, along with my theory, these people tend to lean towards like rangers, druids, shamans, elemental type magic, stuff like that. Your basic premise of a mage. So
Yeah.
Bordy, listen, buddy, I'm about to throw this right in your face. That's going to
Okay.
support my theory.
All right.
Is
All
I
right.
again,
I'm listening.
if you go look at my YouTube video, I break it down and I clip a little spot where one of the Angry Earth people have an ice staff, Bordy.
Okay.
Okay, so now we've only seen like a meteor type attack with the magic post that they made, fire raining down. I really do feel like some type of abilities are going to be tied to the weapon that you're using. You can agree with that, right?
I mean, I don't think that's too far fetched. Yeah. So then if you kill the thing that has the ice staff, you get the ice staff, and then you start shooting out ice bolts or something.
Right.
They're saying, yeah, I don't think that's too far fetched.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that the possibility of these three factions continually being at war and moving around, because they do say that some of the monsters will come out of the wood. Not only will the monsters come out of the woods and try to take back your territory, but also the corrupted will come. So it makes me think that there's just this might be either a seven-sided war where there's seven factions warring for the island all at once, or again, maybe the players do have the option to align with these factions that are kind of warring for the planet.
Yeah, yeah. I that thought did cross my mind too whenever I heard them call these factions, right? Like they called them factions, and it's interesting to think about that. Like, what if whenever you join a faction, you're joining one of these factions? What if whenever you make that choice at level 10 that you're joining one of these? That would be pretty insane. I don't know how that would work other than maybe you ally with one of these factions and they don't attack you. But then if that's the case, then that would completely blow my theory out of the water that the Lost are just simply newbie style mobs. Because if that were the case, then why the heck would anybody join that faction whenever you're getting crappy allies?
Well,
You
yeah,
know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
And I think the Lost is the thing that kind of like maybe debunks that theory too. It's because again, maybe we haven't seen all the mobs that or like all the different features that the Lost have to offer, but like how would players join that faction? Would they have to that at that point become like an undead or something? I don't know. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know how that would work.
I think
Maybe
it's
you don't
more
have to
likely to
become
be a
them.
seven-sided war, right?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the more likely thing. But maybe you don't have to become them. Maybe you just ally with them, right? Like
Sure.
maybe you're just like, I don't know. I don't think that's going to be the case though. I think it's going to be seven sided, like you said.
Yeah. So yeah, the Angry Earth are pretty cool concept wise. And the what was that? It was the first trailer that they showed. It appeared to be an Angry Earth fighting against a corrupted, and the corrupted turns the Angry Earth deer into a corrupted Angry Earth deer. So it's pretty. See, so that kind of shows that
It,
they're not at peace with the corrupted for sure.
yeah, it looks cool, man. These are definitely a lot more unique than the Lost, than the zombies we get. The Angry Earth is cool, and in the clip they show all types of these things, from like the Spriggan style creatures to like the just all kinds of stuff. There's like monstrosities that are coming out of the ground that aren't really humanoid, aren't really beasts. It's cool. It's going to be fun to see what kinds of enemies we get from the Angry Earth.
Yes. Okay, so the last but not least faction that we're going to talk about, and I'll let you open here because you kind of foreshadowed towards them, is the Ancients, Bordy. What do we know about the Ancients?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the ancients, they actually lived on Eternum back in the day, apparently, and they harnessed the power of Azoth and they used that power to power their technology. So supposedly there's going to be tributes to their society all throughout Eternum, and that's something that the players are going to be able to figure out as we go. There's all types of secrets and all types of things that we can kind of figure out lore wise, I think, as to who the ancients were and why they were there and what happened to them, because they mentioned in their video that nobody knows what really happened to the ancients. They were there. They were like thriving with their technology and everything on Eternum, and then everything fell apart for some reason. So now the players can go find those secrets, and that's what's intriguing to me is like, what kind of secrets are we going to find, right? Like, what are we gonna learn about the ancients? Are we going to find some stuff that makes us more powerful as players? I don't know, but I think this is my take on all of these mobs, right? I think the Lost are going to be your low levels, like we said earlier. I think the Angry Earth is going to happen as you venture on in. That's going to be like your next step up, and then I think the Ancients are going to be like your high level, crazy hard mobs in the very center of the island, right? And that those and the Corrupted as well. I think the Corrupted will play that role too, but I think the Ancients will be pretty high level mobs. That's my take on it anyway. We'll see.
So here's an interesting thing because I know that they kind of hinted that we don't know anything about the Ancients right now, but what we do know is the Ancients can't die because they're on Eternum. So the Ancients have to be somewhere, right? And what they've discussed, they've seemed to progress in technology, right? They do say that they're very technologically advanced faction, or they've focused on technology a lot. So it'd be interesting to see again, like because they do paint the Corrupted as the main bad guys, and the Ancients again we see explorers from different time periods, different centuries, ending up at in a tournament, and of course they can't die either. So what are the ancients going to look like? Are they going to be medieval knights? Are they going to be conquistadors or whatever? Like they're going to be these people that have lived for however many years, right? So they could be literally any time frame of history, and then again with technological advancements, it's going to be cool to see what the ancients are. They do show a lot of their like architecture and stuff like that, but we didn't. I don't even. Does it show like
Yeah.
an actual picture of an ancient?
Yeah, yeah. It shows. Well, I don't know if this is an ancient or not, but it shows a skeleton. Whenever they're talking about the ancients, it shows a skeleton walking around.
No,
So,
they were.
uh,
If you look in the background, they're showing off the architecture.
you don't think that's actually one of the
No,
ancients
heck
that
no.
has died, and because they existed and then something bad happened to them, and now they are skeletons. That's what I got out of that. That's what I was thinking it was. Like they're not actually human anymore, right? Kind of like the Lost and the Angry Earth. I mean, why would they still be humans? Why would there be conquistador humans running around?
Because they live forever, Bordy. You can't die on Eternum. That was
Well,
clearly a
okay. Well, what
lost.
about the Lost?
That was
What
a
about the
lost. They
Lost
were dead
then?
before they got there. That was the
What?
whole premise. They died out at
What?
sea and washed in. That's what they
Oh,
say in the
okay.
video. Like,
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay,
They're
okay. I
dead
don't know
sailors
about
that
all that.
washed
Okay,
into the island and became reanimated. That's why they're
okay,
like undead type people.
okay. I don't think we're gonna see humanoid creatures as the ancients. I think they're gonna be. What about the corrupted then?
What do you mean?
What are? Well, they would be human too, then, right?
No, no. I think some of the ancients are humanoids, and I
Oh,
think
here we go. We're
some.
back. Here we back. Okay,
No, no,
here we.
no. I
Okay.
didn't say they weren't humanoids, but I'm saying I'm s- I'm saying I think some of them are humanoid adventurer type people that have kind of lived at the island for a very, very, very long time, and I think their creations are the world boss or like sub boss type stuff that we're gonna be fighting, like their technological advancements, like robot Protoss type things. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Maybe I
Like
think they're
Dwemer
skeletons,
automations.
like an ESO, like an
Yeah,
Elder Scrolls.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
well, I'm trying to give
I don't know, man.
multiple resources to or examples
Yeah.
of what it probably will be like, or I would think would be like. So
Yeah, who knows, man? Maybe you're right. Maybe the skeleton that's roaming around there is just a skeleton for some.
that'll
Maybe
be a
it's
side
maybe it's
bet for
one.
us because I
May,
know I'll win that.
maybe it's one of them. Like maybe that's one of them, but maybe not all of them, right? Like maybe that one was turned into a skeleton for some reason. And because what's interesting is they do show a clip too of a dude standing on the temple that doesn't look like a skeleton. He has clothes on. It's a far away picture though, so you can't see it. But there's clothes on. He has on a like a tattered shirt and tattered pants, and then his you can barely see him, but it looks like his face is real pale with red eyes, almost like the corrupted. But they
Hmm.
showed that clip during the ancients, so who knows, man? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there's all types of different ones.
Yes, we are going to get to find out sooner rather than later, Bordy, because it's coming up in April's closed beta. Neither one of us, to my knowledge, unless you're hiding it from me, have gotten alpha access yet.
Well, we're
This
not
time
even
around,
supposed to say if we do. You know
I
what I
know it's a
mean? You're
trick,
you're
dude. I
breaking
was tricking
NDA
you. I
right
was
now.
trying to get you
You
kicked
know
off of the alpha so I can enjoy it for myself.
why would you want to do that?
Well, because I haven't got
That's a,
invited yet. And if they kick you out, then they got an open space, and I'll be the next person they invite.
that's a scumbag move, bro. You should be happy for
I
your
mean, dude, you're
friend if
trying to
I
get
were
me
to get
kicked
in.
off of Twitch right now, so I don't see there any
What?
difference in that. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
40.
I thought
Okay.
you were my friend,
It's
dude.
fine, dude. I'm going to cut this out so people think that we like each other, okay? So I'm not going to leave this in anyways.
That would be that'd be for the best.
Okay. Well, Bordy, why don't you? We're gonna wrap it up here. That's what we know. We're hoping for no more news. Hey, we wished for news last time, Bordy, and we got 2 pieces of news. All right, so we're gonna keep that wish going. Hopefully, more and more information leaks out or starts to trickle out for us, so we know more about the game, so we can do more podcasts for you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening, Bordy. Why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, sure. You can find me over at Twitter at the BDLG, on YouTube at the BDLG. I'm pumping out quite a few videos over there, and then I'm creating content on StudioLoot.com. There's a lot of good stuff going up on StudioLoot.com. We're creating as much as we know. Every time we get news, we're pumping out stuff over there, and even whenever we don't have news, we've got content flowing. We're gonna have that over there from now until the foreseeable future. And then you can find me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/BDLG. I'm not streaming as much right now because we're working on a lot of behind the scenes stuff for New World. But once New World drops, I'll be there probably every single night. I do stream some over there, but just not as much as I will once New World drops.
And I'm Redbird with Y. You can find me over there at Twitch and YouTube as that name. Also on Twitter, I am Redbird. We both work on Studio Loot. So go check that website out. It will be New World centered for a long time. So if you want any information about New World, we have it over there. We thank you guys so much for listening, for supporting us this early on in the process of the game. We hope to continue to build the hype for you guys, continue to provide an environment or a setting which you guys can talk about and enjoy news on the game. Come join our Discord. We are putting together a company. We're in the process of it right now. We're getting ready to assign roles in there as we kind of build up the population, and we're going to start working on who our council is going to be. So if you're interested in being part of our council and our guild,
Console.
yeah, Bordy. Okay, we get it. Okay, you're smart, and I'm not. They know what I'm talking about. Come over to our Discord and join our Discord and join our company. We'd love to have you guys. We're looking to roll in deep right at launch. We're looking to take a territory. We're looking to hold a territory. I mean, we haven't really decided the direction in which we're going to take, but we do know one thing, Bordy. We're going to have lots of fun. So if you're into fun and you want to be in a company, join ours. And we're going to be a democratic nation, right, Bordy? We're more than open to taking votes, and we're gonna work together to achieve our goals in peace and harmony. Bordy, it's been good, Bordy, being with you again, and again, I'm editing all the negativity out, and that's all the listeners are gonna hear is me saying how much I enjoyed my time with you. And yeah, guys. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on another episode of New World to Go.